Coming up on today's Locked On Senators. It's game day. The Sens have won 5 in a row, and now they go out on a 5-game road trip.
And Ross, that road trip starts in Chicago, where I will have boots on the ground at the United Center, and this might be one of the worst lineups in the NHL right now.
We'll get into all that, and conference tournaments are going on in the NCAA, and our boy, the Disher, is having himself quite the start. All of it's brought to you by Farm to Fork. Go to Farm to Fork delivery today and taste the Farm to Fork difference. You will never go back to grocery store meats. This is the Locked On Senators podcast. It's your team every day.
Your Locked On Senators, your daily podcast on the Ottawa Senators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
I'm Jake Sanderson, and you're listening to Locked On Senators podcast.
I'm Tim Stützle, and you're listening to the Locked On Senators podcast.
And welcome to episode 749 of the Locked On Senators podcast. I'm Ross Levitan alongside Brandon Piller in Los Cabos, Mexico. It's the final of the Los Cabos series, but Pillzy, it's March 6th, Monday, and you will have boots on the ground tonight. You mentioned one of the worst lineups in hockey. Are you worried this could be a trap game?
Not worried. There is no way the Ottawa Senators lose to the Chicago Blackhawks twice with me being in attendance. And Ross, this lineup does not include a certain someone, Patty Kane, who scored 2 goals on the Sens last game. And even Max Domi had a decent game when he was with the Blackhawks in that game. So 2 of their top players will not be here. And the Senators, I don't know if you've heard, have added Jacob Chychrun. So I'm feeling pretty good about the Sens.
A little family affair, not only with Jacob Chychrun's uncle being the head coach of the Chicago Blackhawks, Luke Richardson, well known in the Ottawa area, former Ottawa Senators defenseman as well, but also the top pair on the Chicago Blackhawks blue line are 2 brothers, Caleb and Seth Jones. Kind of cool there.
Yeah, definitely cool. And speaking of keeping it in the family, Ross, a couple Sens abroad on the bottom D pair. Andreas Englund and Nikita Zaitsev. Yes, that is a defense pair for an opponent team in 2023. Wow.
Oh boy. You got to wonder if DJ is asking Luke Richardson, hey, why do you have Zaitsev on the 3rd pair?
Yeah, you acquired a top 4 defenseman. Like, get him playing big minutes here.
Get him in the mix. But the Ottawa Senators will see Nikita Zaitsev, only his 2nd game with Chicago. He was a healthy scratch for a couple, but he got a chance in the lineup there. Last game was a loss against Nashville as well. We'll get into a game day preview. We haven't done the opposing lineups in a little while. We're going to get back to that, but especially today because I want to play a trivia game with all you at home when I pull it up. How many do you know by name? Because I wouldn't blame you if that number is below 5 out of the 18 skaters on this Chicago Blackhawks team. Heck, Seth Jones leads the team with 29 points in 52 games. That's insane.
Yeah, it's tough. And Ross, he has a dash 25 plus minus. So he almost has a lower plus minus than he does points, and he leads this team. So that's where this rebuilding Chicago Blackhawks team is at.
And that's just it. I think it's in everybody's best interest for the Ottawa Senators to win this game tonight. Certainly a little biased. I don't think Buffalo Sabres fans or Pittsburgh Penguins fans or New York Islanders fans would say it's in the best interest. But certainly when you can make it 6 straight wins, which it would be the same as when their last won 5 straight games, March of 2017, they won 6 straight in that one. This is a tough road trip coming up, though, man. They go Chicago, Seattle, Vancouver, then into Alberta against 2 teams going in opposite directions, it feels, with Calgary and Edmonton. Although Edmonton can't buy a save right now, but whenever 97's out there, especially against Ottawa, that's blood in the water for a couple Sharks there with McDavid and Draisaitl. But where are you at going into this road trip? Do you think they can continue? Because if you look at it, sure, Detroit, those are huge games at the time. Detroit's since fallen off, traded everybody away, all that. But the schedule is definitely getting tougher now.
Absolutely, yeah. And especially anytime you're making a Western road trip like that, that's a big road trip to be doing. And this will be interesting, Ross, because the pressure will be off a little bit not playing Eastern teams. Like, if you lose these games, it's not like
4-point games.
Yeah, it's not like one of these teams is going to jump ahead of you or anything. But you're still in a position, the Ottawa Senators are, where you can control your own destiny by winning these games. And these are better teams that you're going to be going up against, like the Flames, Oilers, the Kraken. These are all teams that have playoff aspirations, very different than your Columbus Blue Jackets and Chicago Blackhawks.
Yep.
So it's going to be a change of pace, and we're going to see if this team can replicate the amazing performance they had up against the New York Rangers, another really good team. So let's hope they can keep that rolling.
Senators are skating just after noon Eastern time today, so we're not going to be able to give an update on that. We'll be both in the air by then, more or less. Actually, you know what? My flight's already delayed, so it's my turn for some travel issues.
Good luck, Ross.
Yeah,
oh boy.
It's all good. The connection's what kills me. But anyways, it's all good. We will have the postcast tonight. Pillzy's going to run back to the hotel after being able to see this game up close and personal, and then he'll have Jack Richardson, our guy, join him on that one. So stay tuned for that after tonight's game on our YouTube channel. Pillzy, which way do you want to go? You want to stick with the family angle? I got a little stat for you. Or do you want to get into the wild card picture and set up what could be a pivotal game in hand night for the Ottawa Senators?
Ross, let's go with La Familia.
Well, it's just one little quick stat because we've talked so much about, Timmy hitting 30 goals, second youngest player. The youngest player to hit 31 goals because Yashin had 30 goals in that season where he did it younger. Brady Tkachuk is 1 point away from his career high in 13 less games. Not bad.
Wow. Yeah, that's a big season for Brady, and he's been so consistent this year, and he's really shown what it is to be a leader on a team. Like this year, to be a captain and to lead your team from where they were a month ago to where they are now as a guy in his early 20s is absolutely incredible. So you got to give it up to Brady Tkachuk, the ultimate captain for this franchise.
You think he gets it tonight?
Yes. Yeah, I'm going with yes. I want to see Brady Tkachuk hit that.
That's awesome. Yeah, 67 points. He set that last season in game 82 when he scored his 30th goal. Now tonight, game 63 for him. He's already at 26 goals, 66 points as well. So super impressive stuff from the captain, Brady Tkachuk. All right, coming up next, we will get into the standings. Where are the Senators standing after a big win on Saturday night? Jacob Chychrun gets his first goal in his first home game with Ottawa. Oh, wait. He just played against Chicago. Pillzy, was that one of his last games with the Arizona Coyotes?
It was, if I remember correctly. He was, it was February 10th, and he had a couple points in that game, didn't he?
He had an assist in that game on the first goal. I got it mixed up with his his second last game with Arizona when he had 2 goals against Minnesota. But hopefully he's ready to go here with that family angle. I always love the soft spot for those. So I'm expecting a good night from him before, and obviously this is going to be old takes exposed, but do you move him over to the right side and play him with Shabbat? They had a few shifts together last game, or would you like to see him stay with Eric Brandstrom on that third pair?
Yeah. For now, I would like to see him stay with Eric Brandstrom. Their Corsi numbers were incredible. I thought they did a really good job kind of balancing each other out. Chychrun, the big, heavy defenseman, Eric Brandstrom, the smaller, kind of agile guy. So I think for now, you keep it like that. Am I opposed to him playing up with Shabbat? Absolutely not. But I think that's something that worked. And Ross, if we know one thing about DJ Smith, is when a lineup is winning, he tends to keep that lineup together. So that's what I anticipate is going to happen here.
Some people are calling this Chicago Blackhawks roster the worst they've ever seen. We're also going to get into that as well as the standings. It's all coming up. You're listening to Locked On Senators.
Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at Athletic Greens. Guys, I love Athletic Greens because it's simple. All it is 1 scoop of AG1 into your cup of water every day, and you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens. I usually skip that one. I was feeling confident in this one, Ross. To start your day off right, you can tell I did not have my AG1 this morning because AG1 is crucial when you're trying to get your health together. You can focus on your gut health, your nervous system, immune system, energy, recovery, focus, aging. All of those things can help out with AG1, and it's lifestyle friendly too. So no matter, guys, if you're keto, paleo, vegan, dairy-free, or gluten-free, It's all good for you.
All good.
No GMOs, no nasty chemicals or artificial anything while still managing to taste great. Ross, I wish I brought my travel packs with me to Mexico because you can easily bring it and just add it to your cup of water. It's that simple. And it's cheaper than your coffee habit. So if you're a person that gets coffee every day, why not switch to AG1? And don't just take my word for it. There are thousands of 5-star reviews about why this is such a great product. Right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition, just one scoop in your cup of water every day. To make it easier, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs. That's what I was talking about. So all you have to do is go to www.athleticgreens.com/NHL Network to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutrition from Athletic Greens.
Today's episode is also brought to you by our friends at Farm to Fork. It's premium meat and seafood. It's Farm to Fork. They're amazing at what they do, which is serving Ottawa with everything that you could imagine when it comes to the world of frozen meats. And they do it with health at the forefront. All natural, antibiotic and hormone-free, ethically raised meats, absolutely delicious. Don't take our word for it. Take all the average 5.0 stars reviews on Google. The meats are flash frozen after being hand cut at the butcher's table, and this makes for meat that's much fresher than grocery stores. Do you know how long your meat's been sitting at the grocery store or in your fridge at home? No. Get these individually vacuum packed, so only take out what you need. Free and convenient delivery. They bring it right to you. Save money on gas, save time, especially in the winter. You don't want to be out there, right? Nobody does. You want to stay in your PJs and receive notifications as your order is nearing your home. They've got my favorite ribeyes. They've got sirloins for Pillzy and many more great cuts, even high-end like tomahawks, which that's a crowd pleaser. If you're having a dinner party, get the tomahawks, get that wow factor. They also have sustainable seafood selection. Just go to farm2forkdelivery.ca. That's farm2, the number 2, farm2forkdelivery.ca, and use our limited time promo code SENS40. SENS40 gets you $40 off your first purchase, $40 off. Just use our promo code SENS40 with your first purchase. Taste the farm to fork difference. You will never go back to grocery store meats. All right, Pillzy. It's game day for the Ottawa Senators. Have you ever been so far away from where the Sens are playing, but gone to see them in the same day?
Yeah, this is wild. I can't say I've ever been in Mexico and buying a ticket to watch the Sens play in Chicago. That's a first for me, Ross.
Hey, everybody hit us up on Twitter at Sens Central if you are going to the game. Yep. We saw Zachary is going to be at the game, so always love seeing Sens abroad, especially on the road. And this just reminds me as well how bad I want to do the next Sens Central meetup. Of course, we're going to do our best to do the home opener as well, but I want to do on the road next season.
Or Ross, what about this season? Final game in Buffalo.
Oh, if playoffs are on the line, we might have to make our way down to enemy territory in Buffalo, the home of Ray Emery pummeling Marty Biron. That I've never been to that rink, but certainly there's an aura about it based on the history there for Ottawa fans.
Yeah, I mean, I've gone to Buffalo a bunch of times as a kid. It was easier to get tickets to Buffalo than it was to Toronto, and Ottawa was kind of far when my family was making trips. So I've been to Buffalo a couple times. It's a nice place to watch a game and a great place, Ross, to watch the Ottawa Senators win.
We got work to do before that happens, though. And with that, we'll pull up the standings. If you're watching on YouTube, the weekend is in the books, and this, I want to say, is a five-horse race at this point.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, Detroit and Washington are all but out of it. I think I saw moneypuck.com does the playoff percentages, and Detroit has a 0.7% chance. So the Sens sends them into selling and ultimately falling out of this playoff race.
So, and we keep zooming in, Like each
nice.
time we're just kind of going in and in and in. Hopefully we can get that down to 4 here sooner rather than later. But Buffalo, they're going to be in the mix. It feels like the rest of the way. Pittsburgh has finally started to turn it around after an awful stretch for them. And the New York Islanders even have started winning games at a more consistent basis. So it's not going to be easy, but the Sens enter play tonight 3 points behind Pittsburgh for the final playoff spot with the same amount of games played. It's Buffalo with the 1 game in hand. And the Islanders, yeah, sit pretty up there. Sit pretty with your 4 extra games on Buffalo, 3 extra games on Ottawa and Pittsburgh. So they're probably, even though they're in the driver's seat in terms of having that 1 next to them at the wild card, that's probably the team I'm looking at more so than Pittsburgh right now as the team that you're wanting to catch.
Yep, I'm with you, Ross. I definitely agree. I think having those games in hand and them playing without Matthew Barzal is a big loss. So I think we're going to end up seeing Pittsburgh take that top wildcard spot, and it's going to be a battle right to the end between Ottawa and Buffalo. Who's
the Islanders are just out?
Yeah, I don't have a lot of faith in the Islanders here. I think they're going to be the team that drops.
Wow. All right. You're calling your shots. I like that. Let's see how the Islanders have been doing in their last few games, because I want to say they've started turning around, which ironically came after Barzal has been out of the lineup. Yeah, I mean, they're kind of alternating wins and losses, but they're at the point now where even when you're looking at just getting any points, scratching and clawing, 5-2-3 in their last 10. So yeah, that's 500. But they've also had at least a point in 8 of their last 10. So they're kind of crawling up. But I hope that you're right, man, because the Islanders, I mean, they've had their 2 Eastern Conference final runs that ended in Tampa, but I just don't think they play very fun hockey. I think it'd be a lot better for the game to see Boston have to take on a Senators or a Sabres squad that they're going to be happy to be there, but they also have a ton of snipers that can make sure they pay for any sort of mistakes that they have. But I mean, Boston would obviously go into that series no matter what as like minus 250 favorites, I would say, at FanDuel Sportsbook. But hey, lots of excitement here. 3 points. That's the closest the Sens have been since like opening night.
Yeah, it's Ross. I would say we're past sniffing around. Like we are officially in the hunt.
We're in the race.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. We were sniffing around when they were like 7 points back with games in hand. Yeah. They're 3 points back.
They're right there.
They had their games in hand. At one point, it was 5 on these teams ahead of them, and you have to win your games in hand. Tonight's another one, because if you look at the out-of-town scoreboard, Pillzy, this is not a busy Monday night in the NHL. You're looking at the Senators in Chicago, and beyond that, not much. Edmonton is in Buffalo. That will be a game of interest. And then the Washington Capitals, who you're already claiming out of the race, are in Los Angeles. But really, Sens fans can focus on Edmonton and Buffalo as the other game of consequence tonight for the Ottawa Senators. But win your own matchup and take it from there. How about the 9 o'clock Eastern start? That actually helps you out to get to the game on time. That's 8 o'clock local.
Helps me out big time, Ross, because I land in Chicago at 6. I'm going to drop the bags off at the hotel and then make my way to the game. So I think as long as, fingers crossed, all my delays were happening.
Don't worry, I'll take the delays for you on the way back.
Can I pass those delays off to you?
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. Okay, so that's going to work out then. I'm going to get there just in time.
Oh, it's going to be a great game. Let's preview that next. You're listening to Locked On Senators.
Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at Built Bar. Guys, if you haven't tried Built Bar yet, you obviously haven't been paying attention to the Locked On Senators podcast, Ross. They've been a sponsor with us since day 1.
Day 0, before our show.
Day 0. That's how long they've been a sponsor, and for a good reason. They are the protein bar that tastes like a candy bar. I'm telling you, if you haven't tried Built Bar Puffs yet, you are depriving yourselves of one of life's greatest joys. I'm not kidding. This is a protein bar where they figure out how to make it taste good and then how to make it healthy. The Puffs are a perfect example of that. It's chocolate-covered marshmallows, but the marshmallow is a protein-infused marshmallow. So you love to see it because Built Bar is high in protein, high in fiber, but low in sugar and low in calories. So that's the ultimate combo right there. So you got to go to built.com, snag a box for you and the family. It's the perfect treat. Or you might want to hide those away so that you're the only one that gets to enjoy them, Ross, because I promise you, you're going to like them. But don't take my word for it. Go to built.com and get your first order today when you visit the website and use our promo code LOCKEDON15 for 15% off your next order. One more time, guys, go to built.com, use promo code LOCKEDON15 to get 15% off your next order. It's Built Bar, the protein bar that tastes like a candy bar.
Today's episode is also brought to you by Shawarma Palace. We love our friends, our family at Shawarma Palace, and you can go and check them out officially at the St. Laurent Shopping Center. They've now opened their most recent location. So now you are legitimately never too far away from a Shawarma Palace. So Saint Laurent Shopping Center, Orleans, Bank and Hunt Club. They've got one at Rideau Street, the classic one right by Augusta near Chapel, or you can go down on Bank Street by Gladstone, by Baseball Town. There really is no other option for shawarma in the city of Ottawa. And if you don't feel like going out to a Shawarma Palace to get that platter, that extra garlic sauce, mix in a drink, mix in falafels, do what you need to do at Shawarma Palace, you can always just order it on Uber Eats. The official Uber Eats supplier it's only on Uber Eats of any delivery service. So go to Shawarma Palace, and when you go, make sure you let them know that Locked On Senator sent you. It's an easy way to get a little scoop of extra garlic on there. And we love our friends, our family at Shawarma Palace. We are about to do giveaways coming up this week thanks to Shawarma Palace. So we'll let you know when those go live. We have tickets to give away from our boy Abbas, the owner of Shawarma Palace, is giving away 2 tickets in the 100 level to the game against the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Colorado Avalanche. So that's literally the Stanley Cup final matchup of last season. That's a big game. So stay tuned at Shawarma Palace, and we will find out who gets to take home those tickets. But you can always take home a great platter at Shawarma Palace or the sandwich. You really can't go wrong. Find them at any of their Ottawa 9 locations. Shawarma Palace, eat like a royal. Sens game days taste better with Shawarma Palace. All right, Pillzy, it's Sens game day in Chicago. Senators taking on a bad, awful, horrible, sellers, just a complete dumpster fire of an organization, the Chicago Blackhawks.
I think you used up all the adjectives there, so I'll just leave it at that. But yes, this is another game, Ross. We talked about last game being one of those, it's not a must win, it's
Business.
a take care of business. Chicago, a lot of business goes down to the Windy City. Well, it's time for the Ottawa Senators to take care of business.
All right, can we just pull up this? Because I really want everyone to see this. I want you to let us know in the comments, how many players do you know on this Chicago Blackhawks team? We're pulling it up right now if you're watching on YouTube. The top line, Philip Kurashev between Lucas Reichel and Andreas Athanasiou. The second line is Cole Gutman between Tyler Johnson and Taylor Radish. The third line, Jason Dickinson. Guess he finally got up from that hit Brady laid on him in the last meeting between these two teams. Jason Dickinson is between Anders Bjork and Mackenzie Entwistle. And the fourth line is Jujhar Khaira between Boris Kachuk and Joey Anderson, claimed off waivers from the Leafs just a week ago. I mentioned the family ties on the top pair. Pretty cool to see. Caleb Jones and Seth Jones together. Jared Tenorti, still in the NHL. He was a part of that Sens Habs brawl, wasn't he? I'm pretty sure he fought Chris Phillips in that 2013 brawl. Can you look that up for me while I go through the rest? I'm really curious. And Connor Murphy's the right side defenseman there. And then Andreas Englund with Nikita Zaitsev. Andreas Englund with Nikita Zaitsev. The goalies, Peter Mrazek and Alex Stalock. The Chicago Blackhawks are 21, 36, and 5 on the season. They're currently riding a 4-game losing streak, and we already told you that their leading scorer has 29 points. 29 points in 52 games this season. And yeah, that looks like Jared Tenorti to me, man. You'll see him jump in. Pillsy's got the Sens Habs brawl. This is all time. See with Chris Phillips right in the middle?
Yeah.
That's 100% Jared Tenorti.
I'm looking for Tenorti, but I can't take my eyes off Jared Cowan absolutely pummeling. I think that's White.
Unreal.
Love it.
We could just watch this all day.
Oh, there's Nealer.
A little verbal reenactment.
All right, we're getting off track here.
But yeah, I want to say that was Jared Tenorti there. So anyways, he's still in the league 10 years later. Shocking.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dare I ask a lookout player?
I was going to say, Ross, we're going to get to our lookout players here. I'm going to be looking out for the only player of real consequence from the Chicago Blackhawks game earlier this season. And that was Andreas Athanasiou. He scored the game winner. That was a heartbreaker for Sens fans. So he's going to be the guy I'm looking out for here. Like Up front, I mean, Taylor Radish is having a decent year, but he's not too intimidating here. But you can't forget Andreas Athanasiou's speed. So that's going to be a guy I'm looking out for as someone that I think if you're able to shut him down, there's not a lot of other options for this Blackhawks team.
There really isn't. And I'm going to go, Lucas Reichel. I love a good all-German storyline with Timmy. And Reichel's actually been really impressive at the AHL level this year, but he just needs to get more of his feet wet. And I was talking to a Blackhawks fan, a guy I work with in Winnipeg, Skylar Peters, great guy, and he was talking about how Lucas Reichel would be best left down, like the Josh Norris path, where you just leave him down, don't let him get too much, like 4 points in 6 games this year, right? Like he's contributing a little bit, but at the AHL level, he's been doing absolute numbers. I think it's more out of necessity, right? They move so many bodies, but 46 points in 51 games in Rockford. So he's the kind of guy who I think he does have a lot of offensive potential. Yep. It's just, is it smart to be putting him in a position right now? I don't know if that's really going to be a path to success.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like the vibes are very good in Chicago right now. And Ross, his rookie season in the AHL, he was an absolute stud with 57 points in 56 games with Rockford.
Oh my God, I'm looking over there. Look at, read that stat versus Ottawa. My goodness, the Hawks have owned the Sens in the last decade.
Yes, I was going to get to that stat next, Ross, here. It's very, very scary. This was one of our trivia questions, actually, I remember now. But the Blackhawks are 15-2-1 in their last 18 games against the Sens since 2010. And Ross, this one scares me. Chicago is also 10-1 in their last games versus Ottawa at the United Center. So
this ain't your older brother Chicago Blackhawks.
Yeah, no, it certainly isn't. So I'm hoping that they can put a 2 in the loss column there for the Ottawa Senators tonight.
What's a key to victory to do that?
Key to victory is just, it's one of those where you can't play down to your opponent, just play your game. And I think the Ottawa Senators, they're going to be able to handle this team very easily. All you need to do is stick to the formula. Like, basically, if they can replicate the game they had against the Columbus Blue Jackets, which I don't see why they can't, this is going to be another W for them.
The Ottawa Senators 5-on-5 has really come to light of recent times. They still have that elite power play, 6th in the league, and their penalty kill sits 6th in the league. When you look at Chicago, that's a team where special teams aren't so special. 24th in the National Hockey League on the penalty kill, and they are 27th on the power play, tied with the Columbus Blue Jackets, who just went 0-4 against Ottawa over the weekend. My locked-on player, Jacob Chychrun, I'm just taking it. It's easy. And every shift he's on the ice, I'm going to be watching whether he plays the left side, the right side. That shot clearly is a huge part of his game, so we love to see that be able to contribute to a goal. And then he hit the post afterwards, so I'm going to go with Jacob Chychrun as my locked-on player. And I know we've been kind of burying this lead. I think you're going to pull him up here for your locked-on player.
Yes, Jacob Chychrun, obviously a great locked-on player. I'm going to be watching number 6 as well, but I'm also going to be watching number 12. It's a revenge game. Alex Debrincat's first game in Chicago as an opponent. And Ross, he has been on a heater lately as I'm looking up 5-game point streak with 6 points during that span. So
kind of curious. Aren't Sens on a 5-game win streak?
Yeah, weird how that works, eh? So the Cat is going to be looking for a little revenge up against the team that thought, hey, we've got a 40-plus goal scorer 2-time in his prime. Let's get rid of him. That's a good call right now. So he's going to make him pay for that one.
Yes, that's the play for Alex Debrincat, who I'm calling it. He's scoring a goal tonight. Sens are 15-1-1 when Alex Debrincat scores a goal. So enjoy tonight's game. Again, note the start time, 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock local in Chicago. The Senators starting a 5-game road trip that will take them through the Northwest Corridor. Is that what you call it? The Seattle-Vancouver area?
I don't know if anyone's referred to that geographical area as a corridor, but we'll go with that, Ross.
I bet you some Orca whales have. Little corridor for them up in the Pacific Northwest.
Sure.
And then heading up to the Alberta portion of the tour, and then we'll get back to their homestand. Hey, 1 game at a time. Yes, Senators in Chicago tonight. 1 game at a time is how the rest of the Big Ten Hockey Conference tournament's going to go. After a best-of-3 series, we're getting into some Sens prospects here to wrap up today's show. Penn State losing to Ohio State, which means Stephen Halliday is heading to the next round where it's single elimination. They're playing against Michigan, a team they tied and then beat outdoors, where Stephen Halliday had a goal and an assist. Michigan obviously has Adam Fantilli and Luke Hughes, who happen to be two of only three players in the whole conference who have more assists than Stephen Halliday.
Yes, Stephen Halliday, Ross, can confirm. That guy's a disher.
So we'll see that. That's March 11th. Michigan will take on Ohio State. Also, this upcoming weekend, we will see North Dakota take on Omaha. Yes, Johnny Tyconic's Omaha Lancers against Tyler Clevin. So a little Sens prospect on prospect violence there. And we know that they're going to have their hands full with just the season they've been having. Anyways, that's neither here nor there, but it is good to see some of the Sens prospects making some moves here in the tournament. I'm just pulling up to see how our boy Boucher is doing since coming back from his injury. They've been kind of keeping him in, out as they played 3 games in 3 nights kind of thing. Lots of shots on goal. I like
pucks
that.
On net. Yep.
Pucks on net. So he's got 12, 16, 21 shots in 4 games, a goal and 2 assists in 4 games as well. So we'll keep track of all that. Locked On Senators is your home for daily Ottawa Senators, Belleville Senators. Shout out Crooker. 20 goals on the year for Crooker. Let's go. Belleville Sens need to make a push, though, if they're going to have any extra hockey to look forward to this spring.
They've been playing actually pretty good recently, Ross, but they are nowhere near. They're not even thinking about,
4 points out.
Okay, yeah.
Well, with the other team has 3 games in hand.
Yeah, I was going to say they're not even thinking about the P word yet, but they are 7-3 in their last 10. So it's funny how they've kind of gone through a tough shift here, but they've been playing better as of late. So we'll keep a watchful eye on Belleville here, as it would be nice for them to make playoffs, Ross, as my preseason hot take prediction was that the Belleville Senators would make a Calder Cup run. That's not looking so great right now.
No, not looking so great. We also cover everything on Twitter at Sens Central and on Instagram, lockedon.senators. We'll talk in the postcast, the Boots on the Ground postcast. Pillzy will have that with you with Jack Richardson. And then tomorrow, back in our homesteads, we'll have with you Locked On Senators, hopefully following another big win. I'm calling 5-2. What's your score prediction tonight? 5-2 Ottawa.
6-1 Ottawa. Let's go.
All right, for Brandon Piller, I'm Ross Levitan. Thanks for hanging out with us in Los Cabos, Mexico. Have a great day, everyone, and go Sens go. This has been the Locked On Senators podcast, your team every day.